Matt Hancock's here, and welcome back to this video sequence on digestive and intestinal health. Now, today we're going to take a journey through the intestines. So our food has been digested in the stomach, or not, as the case may be, and is going into the intestines. And according to Sherry A. Rogers, she quoted, "The road to health is paved with good intestines." And you know, this is very, very true. The intestines have a very important role to make in terms of this is where all the assimilation of the nutrients from the food and the absorption takes place. Okay, so after the food has been digested in the stomach, it goes through into the small intestine, and so that's where we're going to start our journey. So the intestinal system then, it basically takes in the small and the large intestine. So the small intestine is where the food is absorbed. So we assimilate the nutrients out of the food that we eat, and then use those nutrients within the body. And then the large intestine is obviously where the food is eliminated. So basically, what we're going to talk about is first off is the functions of the small intestine. Now, the small intestine is basically an incredibly long muscular tube which pushes food back and forth to fully bathe it in enzymes and bile in order to break it down. And this happens at the very start of the small intestine, so the duodenum. Now this is where a little bit of digestion takes place, but the main part of the main role that the intestines have, almost all nutrients from food are absorbed into the bloodstream. Of course, to make it through the intestinal wall, the size of the food particles needs to be very, very small, down to the level of molecules. If the food has not been properly broken down by the time it gets to this point, it will not get through and cause irritation along the intestinal wall. If this process continues, the irritation will progress to inflammation and symptoms similar to those seen in Crohn's disease. Okay, so what can happen is that you can get chronic diarrhea or bouts of diarrhea and constipation, even bleeding from the intestinal tract can happen. So not great. Okay, so the digestion in the first place is so important. So you can see how the sequence of each of these systems. So you've really got to chew your food to start the digestion. You've got to have the right quantities of HCl and other gastric juice in the stomach to break it down further. Then the duodenum needs to do its job and just digest it even further before it goes in. It travels down into the next part of the intestine. So the sequence of events that the food is taken on this journey is really, really important for the whole digestive system to work and be functionally healthy. So the lower intestine is all about obviously the transit time, okay, or the elimination of waste. So we're going to delve a little bit more now into the large intestine. This is basically where the remainder of your food is prepared for elimination. So it's the tail end, so to speak, of the process we've been discussing over the last few videos. Now, when you eat or bite food, you'll probably be inside you anywhere between kind of 14 and 22 hours. That, of course, varies per person, but the site where it will remain the longest is the large intestine. So it goes through your stomach in about an hour or so. It's in your small intestine for a few hours, 2 to 3 hours, and then it spends the rest of the time in your large intestine until it's eliminated as waste. So we want to be regular, we want to be going each and every day. So if you're not going every sort of 24 hours or each and every day, then you do need to improve your transit time. Okay, now the large intestine's primary role is to dehydrate what remains of the food that you ate. So removing as much water from it as possible before compacting it into feces through elimination. So a few things are also absorbed in the large intestine, but most of that job has already been completed by the small intestine, and so by the time the food gets into your large intestine, that's kind of been done, yeah? So it's not a sexy topic when we're discussing bowel movements, but and the state of your feces, but really it can tell us a lot about the health of your digestive system. So it is important to take a little bit more notice over the state of your stools, especially if you've answered yes to a lot of these questions we've been posing to you in the last few videos. Okay, so a healthy bowel movement shouldn't float or sink like a lead weight. Okay, so basically hover somewhere in the middle of the toilet, and you shouldn't see undigested food in your stool. Okay, if you do, then it's a couple of things. Basically, the enzymes, like we've talked about before, it could be HCl, okay, but you're not digesting your food properly. It could be from the stomach, or it could be from the start of the small intestine, but there'll be a dysfunction there of some sort. Now, you must realize that if this is still happening, so if you're still having these issues and you have gone through the last few things, so you are chewing your food, you are giving yourself enzyme probiotic, and you have looked at enzymes, then you really need to address this thing now, because if you have undigested food in your stools, it means you're not absorbing the nutrients from the food. Okay, so regardless of how good you're eating or how good you're being on a particular diet, all right, you're not supporting your system enough from the food that you're eating. So it won't be doing its job properly, and it will make it less effective for obtaining your overall goals, whether that be just health, vitality, or especially if you're trying to lose weight. Your results are going to be very, very minimal if you haven't got your digestive system working. What we need to really look at is fiber. All right, now, because if your transit time is too slow, you can end up with something called enterohepatic recirculation. Now, this basically means that things that will leave in your body in the form of feces stay in too long. Okay, and you can reabsorb some of them into your gastrointestinal tract. Then those substances get back into your system. They can cause internal toxication. So basically, if you can get your transit time is very, very important. On the other hand, if your transit time is too fast, you don't get enough time to absorb the nutrients, and you don't fully benefit from the foods that you eat. So it is easy actually to do a little test for your transit time, and all you need to do basically is start by eating a cup of sliced beetroot. Now, you can then make a note of the exact time that you eat, and keep watching evidence of the beetroot. Yeah. So the water in the toilet bowl might turn a little red. You might see a hint of red in your stool, or red when you wipe. Either way, that is evidence that the beetroot has passed through your system, and that will give you your transit time. So if it's less than 6 hours or more than 24, then we need to go over obviously the previous lessons we've talked about. If you are doing all of those, then you've got a multi-strain probiotic. You're eating the right foods. You're definitely chewing your food, and you've got enzymes if you need them. Then what you need to do is make sure that you've got enough fiber in your diet. Okay, because no discussion about large intestine would be complete without talking about fiber. In my opinion, simply adding fiber to your diet is not going to fix most people's problems, but it will certainly help move things along, so to speak. If you've got other things, if you've sorted everything else out first and there's still a problem, then fiber will be the issue. But consequently, you can't just add fiber to your diet if you've had all these other issues and expect it to help. It will help, but it won't cure the problem. So that's why I've done these video sequences, this video series like a sequence, so you can work through each of them one step at a time, and then you've got everything covered. So typically a Western diet is very, very low in fiber, okay? And research shows that a low fiber diet is directly related to obesity and a variety of other diseases. Now, fiber obviously plays a key role in controlling cholesterol, blood sugar levels, and provides dietary bulk to maintain a healthy intestinal system. It absorbs toxins and unabsorbed fats in the bowel and eliminates them. Okay, so its most common benefit is the regularity that it promotes. So high fiber diets have also been shown to reduce the risk of certain health conditions. High fiber foods such as legumes, beans, whole fruits, oats are also low on the glycemic index. A diet high in these foods may help lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. All right. So really, really important. So why extra fibre? Okay, we need to be having around 30 grams of fibre each and every day. The average diet gives us about 12 to 15 grams. So 30 grams is what we're looking for. And I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to add an extra 20 grams of fibre into your diet just by making 4 changes to foods you're probably eating already. So for instance, if instead of having orange juice, for instance, you might be drinking orange juice, instead of drinking that, what I'd like you to do is actually eat a large orange. Now, what this will do is it will actually give you an extra 3+ grams of fibre, because a cup of orange juice has about 0.5 grams of fibre and a large orange has about 4 grams of fibre. Okay? Instead of eating a medium banana, what I'd like you to do is eat a cup of raspberries. So this will give you an extra 5 grams of fibre. So a banana which has 3 grams of fibre and is probably seen as quite high for a fruit, in raspberries you get 8 grams of fibre just for 1 cup. Okay, there's a fantastic, raspberries are also fantastic because they contain ellagic acid, which is a compound with anti-cancer properties. So it's really good to get some of those berries down you. Instead of a side of rice, what I'd like you to do is switch that for a side of black beans. Now, a side of rice gives you about 0.3 grams of fibre per half a cup, whereas black beans gives you 7.5 grams per half a cup. So that's an extra 7 grams just by making that switch. And finally, if you eat pretzels, okay, if you like pretzels and you're eating pretzels, they give you about 1 gram of fibre. But if you switch that to sliced carrots with 2 tablespoons of hummus, what you're going to have is an extra 3 grams of fibre, because the hummus and the carrots give you 4 grams of fibre. Also, the bonus with this one is beta-carotene, because the pigment that makes carrots orange is a powerful antioxidant. It's also a precursor to active form of vitamin A, a nutrient that helps your immune system become healthy. Okay, so it's there's a good bonus there to it as well. All right. For me, fixing gut pathology, like I've said before, it cannot be overemphasized. So the large intestine, if this isn't functioning properly, just like the other parts of the digestive system we've been talking about, optimal health, including healthy immune function, simply cannot exist. So it's so important that we get this right. So just to summarize then, basically the aim should always be to get your digestive system as healthy as possible, and as a consequence this will of course help you drop body fat and make you feel absolutely incredible. Now, to summarize, digestion starts in the mouth, so you must chew your food. Okay, don't rush your food, no TV dinners, and try not to drink with your food. You want to cut down on foods that can negatively affect good digestive health. So red meat, because it takes forever to digest, gluten, processed food, sugar and refined carbohydrates. And on the flip side, you want to add plenty of water, maybe some cultured and fermented foods, and plenty of fibrous foods, so green leafy vegetables, berries and beans. You of course, we can't stress enough about the importance of supplementing with a high quality probiotic, and the SB3 is probably the best probiotic we've ever come across, with its combination of the prebiotic fibers, probiotic bacteria and of course vitamin C, boosting your immunity and of course your good bacteria. It also helps in the production of digestive enzymes and just gets your whole system working to its very strongest and healthiest potential. Of course, this does take a few months. Okay, you need to follow the system, so we need to cleanse, rejuvenate, and then go into our maintenance system. So you're doing all the right things by the previous months, but now it's important just to look at your digestive health under the microscope. Go through obviously we've gone through the videos and we've gone through the questionnaires, and once you've got the good bacteria working at its full potential with all your probiotics, then really, you're going to go from strength to strength. So I hope that's all made perfect sense. This month's all been about digestive health, and I look forward to taking you through to your next months.